And backstage, just pulled the thing. Hey, everybody, the doctor's just rebooting his computer. Oh, here he is. Here he is. He's on, he's in.
Any filler? No filler? Don't forget, down to Geelong on the weekend, everyone, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I've still got the banner here.
After we finish on Parliament House, we're going to shoot
here
down
he
the
is.
Corio convoy down to Princess Freeway, down to the Geelong foreshore, Eastern Park, which is right next to the Botanical Gardens in Geelong.
Oh, sorry.
Kicking off at it kicks off at 1:30, but we're not going to get there till 3:30. So if you want to get there early, that's for the Geelong people and associated areas. But for those doing the Corio convoy coming from Melbourne, we're going to be heading down there, and we're estimated time of arrival is 3:30. Doctor.
Dangerous Dr. Paul Oosterhuis, who had the audacity to live up to your Hippocratic oath, keep your integrity, and pay the price. And here you are, and I have people wanting to come into the private group. I'll see if we have questions coming in, and we did have some questions coming through. But Doctor, how about we start? You said there's so much you wanted to say. Now we're on this platform, and you can say whatever the hell you want to say, Doctor. Knock yourself out.
All right. I'm just fixing my audio. Look, what do I want to say? Obviously,
first off, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question rather, just about you? How do you feel personally? I mean, I can imagine how you feel, but how do you feel personally? You've given 30 years to being an anaesthetist. You've probably saved countless lives. You actually stand up for your Hippocratic oath, and they just basically have done what they've done. How do you feel?
You're very kind, Michael. You're very kind. Look,
it's the truth.
I'm annoyed that they're giving advice to Australians that is going to harm them, and they're withholding advice that can save lives. I mean that is awful. When COVID hit last year, the same thing happened in the US, and they lost estimated about 500,000 lives could have been prevented from being lost with early treatment. Okay, the key determinant on whether or not you live or die from COVID is how soon you get onto treatment. All right.
Yeah.
It's not anything else. And that's why I'm so passionate, because I saw the mistakes happening in the US last year, and I thought, how can they do the same things here? Surely they would learn, surely they would learn from the mistakes abroad. And when I started to have concerns about the jab, I mean, I didn't start off a dyed-in-the-wool anti-vax person. Like I said, when I saw the press report the day before saying anti-vax doctor to be grilled by the medical board, I thought, who's that? Because I didn't consider myself, at that time, I didn't consider myself by that label. I was just raising concerns that my colleagues and, Nobel Prize winners and the inventor of the mRNA technology and Gert Vandenbosch, an insider on vaccine thing. So at first I just thought, okay, I'm flagging some very low risk concerns. At the time, I thought, this is back in April.
Can I ask what they are? What those low risk concerns were?
High risk, very high impact concerns, but very, very low probability. So I was thinking about things like antibody dependent enhancement, and Robert Malone described this as the vaccinologist's worst nightmare. So this is where you give a vaccine to someone to protect them, and rather than protecting them, they are actually harmed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we saw in the animal experiments with previous coronavirus vaccines, and also with the mRNA attempts. I've heard about a humanized mouse model where they get mice, but they genetically change their gene expression so that they have human ACE2. That's how they call them, humanized mice. They just look like mice, but we call it human because they have the human ACE2. And when they tried this malarkey on them, 100% of them died at 2 months.
Yeah, I heard that.
So, the concern of genocide or massive loss of life through antibody-dependent enhancement was where I started with the vaccine story. And it's just gotten downhill since,
So you didn't attack it, you just posed a question as a medical professional?
Yeah. Look, at first I thought, okay, very high impact, awful risk, but it's not going to happen. Like everyone, you think, okay, it's not going to happen, but I'll put it on my alert list because it's serious. But what's happened is the warning signs of it, and in particular vaccine failure, and what Gerd van der Bosch had been saying was that he predicted that the vaccine campaign in the midst of a viral outbreak would drive the evolution towards a virus which now could infect younger people, and ultimately it would out-evolve the vaccines altogether. And we're starting to see that with Delta Plus.
So you're talking about the vaccine would help create the variants?
The spike protein is, yes, that's right. It drives the evolution, which wouldn't happen without it. And as a result, you've got these vaccines now, which are basically, if you imagine the whole virus, you had a lovely picture of it on one of our talks.
Oh, yeah.
They're focusing on the little spike bit, not the whole thing. And the spike bit is one of many proteins that the immune system might recognize as virus by and say, aha, this is the thing. And the problem is that one of the problems is that their approach has been too narrowly focused on this spike protein, because this is a thing that they've studied, that they knew well. If you look at David Martin and the patent record, we know that they understood about canine coronavirus spike proteins back in 2000. So there's, if you follow the work of David Martin, Dr. David Martin, and particularly his coronavirus submission, his submission to the German Coronavirus Commission, he breaks it all down, all the different patent. It's all searchable, all the different bits of discovery. So last year when they came out and said, this is a novel virus, everyone thought, oh, that's scary. That means we won't have any immune. That's it. We won't have any immune. Novel normally means like, it's totally off the wall. No, it's like smallpox and the Native American, North American Indians. They created the sense that we were going to die off, as and it did trigger all the fear buttons really beautifully. It certainly triggered mine. I was very worried about the virus, and I was terrified, like the rest of us.
Now that we're on this platform, just to interrupt, sorry, Doctor, what are your thoughts on the origin of the virus? Do you have any thoughts there?
Absolutely. I mean, I believe it came out of a lab. It's genetically modified. It says, made in a lab, written in the code, basically. If you want to have an argument with a virologist about this, just ask him where the polybasic furin cleavage site came from.
I ask Damien that all the time.
Yeah,
I keep asking him all the time.
Tell him. Yes.
Come on, Damien, tell me.
I know, but I'm not telling you.
I guess the point is that if you can look at family trees of everything, monkeys, humans, you can look at the way the genes evolve within a viral evolution too. And this virus from the get-go was Uncle Fester. It didn't belong. It had features that just didn't come out of the playbook. For instance,
it's an effective gain of function, yeah?
Call it what it really is. It's a bioweapon. Gain of function is the polite way of saying, yeah, we made a bioweapon. and it got out.
So bioweapon to do what? Collapse the economy and create a new world order? What's the bioweapon for?
I mean, the idea that they were engaging in biological weapons research and that they're calling it something that sounds a little bit more polite doesn't change the fact that they were mucking around with bioweapons and it got out. And
is it accidental that it got out?
Who knows? You know,
because there's lots of labs engaging in biological studies.
Yeah, don't think I'm putting it solely on the feet of the Chinese Communist Party, because Australian universities have been involved, UK universities and institutions have been involved, US institutions, DARPA, you know.
Dr. Fauci, perhaps?
Of course, and